Test, test, test. Talking, talking, talking.
All right, we are live.
Cool. And I'm recording.
I am recording as well. Um, Kind of sucks that we're doing it virtually again.
Yeah.
People
Miss
at
you
home,
guys.
people at home don't know, but we did a thing. We'll talk
We
about
have
that.
something fun.
Yeah, we have something fun coming up next week.
Somebody
Um,
traveled and it wasn't Ryan.
and it
Actually, it
wasn't
was kind
me.
of Ryan.
It kind of was, yeah.
It kind of was Ryan. It actually wasn't you.
It was both of you.
Oh, I love it.
I just had to stay home and do all of the manual work.
And we love you for it.
Yes. Um, let's get into it, shall we?
Do it.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be talking about the 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz. Don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a Oz related thing coming out this week. They're doing very little advertising for it.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough. Is it the James Franco one?
No, it's on Sci-Fi Network.
Tin Man, what a throwback.
Yeah.
My only addition to that is just watch out what website you go to when you're trying to research it.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Devin doesn't know that story. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, in anticipation of Wicked, we're going to be talking about The Wizard of Oz, a film that I think we've all seen, right?
Oh, it's been at least 30 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's been at least 20 since I've seen it. So we figured we'd revisit it because occasionally we do that to tie into things so we can get views. Not going to sugarcoat it. I mean,
thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Watch more of this.
Yeah. But before we do that, usually each week we talk about things that one of us has never seen before. We're breaking that up a little bit this week. But before we get into our main topic, we like to talk about things we've watched in pop culture over the last week or so. Ryan, I'm going to start off with you. You watched the new show on HBO Max, whatever it's on.
Yes. So, yeah, it's on Max. Dune Prophecy. It is a show that is based 10,000 years before the events of the movies. And it's basically the origin story for the Bene Gesserit, the Order of Truthsayers or witches that kind of run things behind the scenes within the Dune world. And I had no idea about this show until the day before it premiered because Kristen and I went on to, Kristen and I were just in the living room and I was like, okay, I need to find out what streaming service Wizard of Oz is on. And it was an advertisement right before the movie. And I'm like, hang on a second, we have to wait before we start the movie. And I went back to try to find it to watch the actual trailer. And I'm like, okay, I'm watching this the night it premieres. And I like it. As someone who likes the politics side of the Dune series, this is perfect. This is before they have their crazy powers. This is like but it also deals with Arrakis a little bit. So far in the first episode anyway, they show a little bit of Arrakis. They have a soldier coming back to this planet that this house is on. They deal with other houses and other families than the core movies do. So this is just expanding the movie TV world of the Dune series, which I can't wait for the other 5 episodes.
Very cool. Yes, Devin. Yes, Devin.
Ryan, does it? So I assumed that the prophecy part was the whole the Bene Gesserit's planting the seed of the Muad'Dib on Arrakis. That's the whole reason they're doing it, is so they could eventually control the spice. Is that part of it?
I have no idea, because the show starts with them showing where the idea of basically being family planners. It shows them starting that idea.
Is it as royally act as it is in the movies or the 1,000 years later?
I'm sorry?
Is it as insanely stupid, not stupid, but kind of fucked as it is later in the series, or?
Well, things are still crazy, but different, because it is set 140 years after the war against the machines. I guess since I haven't read that far into the books, so I'm going to assume that AI becomes its own thing, and humans have to destroy what they call the thinking machines, and they successfully have their war against them. So this is 140 years after that, and the Ben Gesserit are just people that are really good at knowing when people are telling the truth and when they're lying. That is literally just it. They don't have any other powers than that. and the one character like uses the whole voice thing to get someone to do something that she wants, and everyone's like surprised, and she's like, oh, this is something that I'm learning, like how, it's like this is something that I've been teaching myself how to do, and it's like that's the beginning of that.
That's
And
cool.
so like you have another 10,000 years from like the first episode at least to when the events of the Dune movies start. So there's a lot there. So I don't know if this show is going to be them starting to plant that prophecy, or if this is something completely different. Because, like I said, it's 10,000 years.
That's very cool. I'm on board.
But I mean, it is good. They did not like nothing really looks hokey in it. There's only one cheesy-ish costume in it, but I can overlook that for the sake of like for literally everything else. They did great in the first episode.
Very cool. I need to watch this. I just haven't had a chance yet because
Mhm.
I've been watching other stuff, which we'll talk about. Devin, how about you? You watched a thing.
So I took a flight, and one of my in-flight options was Dune 2, and I decided that I would not do myself the injustice of watching it on a screen yay big, and at least watch it at home, if not wait till it comes back out in theaters or something. So I
Yeah.
opted for something that's fine to watch on a small screen, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I think you saw this, Alan.
Yeah.
I I don't understand the hate this movie got. I think that it was a bit of a slow startup, but I really liked it.
I didn't realize it was getting hate until recently.
Oh.
It's fine. It's not as good as Afterlife, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's it's fine. Like it's a Ghostbusters movie. I don't know why they released it in March, but hey.
I liked the bad guy. I think the bad guy was cool. I like the idea of like,
Yeah.
whether you're family or not. I liked the scene where like old Ghostbusters were doing a thing and
Yeah.
new Ghostbusters were doing a thing. They brought back the Dickless joke. What more do you want from a Ghostbusters
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah, you got to keep the dickless in there. So,
Literally.
no, I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. It kind of just made the news recently because Dan Aykroyd saying that him and Bill Murray are done and not coming back for any more. So,
Is there going to be another Ghostbusters movie?
oh yeah, they're making several more Ghostbusters movies.
You know what? They can be done. Like, I think that like this was a awesome epilogue for them.
Yeah,
We know what they're doing. They weren't eaten by a ghost like they were in the one Ghostbusters movie. Great, we did it.
Yeah.
Next thing.
yeah, yeah. I watched a movie over the weekend. Transformers One is now on Paramount Plus
Already?
already. And this is one of those movies like I'm hearing good things about this. I want to see it, but I will wait for it to be on Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, did I absolutely enjoy this movie.
Oh, good.
So much so that I did something I never do, which was at New York Comic Con. There was a booth near us that was giving away merchandise during the week, and one of the things they gave out was like a little build your own Transformers thing. So after the movie, I built D1.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
How did
which
you build him?
He's just like pieces that come apart, so like I can take his head off and like it's like build your own
Oh.
figure thing.
That's very cool.
But this movie tells the origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron before they were Optimus Prime and Megatron. It
I
stars
thought
Chris.
they were. Go ahead.
Yeah, it stars Chris Hemsworth as I want to get his name right. Orion Pax, who later becomes Optimus Prime, and then Brian Tyree Henry, who plays D16, who later becomes Megatron. You get to see their friendship growing. It's very Smallville-esque. Like it's very much Clark Kent and Lex Luthor are best friends, but then one turns to the dark side. So,
I like that.
but the animation's great. It's the first time we really get to see Cybertron for like a lot of the movie, and I think they do a really good job with that. It also stars Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, John Hamm's in there. It's got a stacked cast, and it's a lot of fun, and it's also like very, very good. Like you see their transformation, no pun intended. You see the characters' transformations from like minors on Cybertron to who they become, and it's compelling. It's heartbreaking. The only thing that took me out of it was towards the end of the movie when he starts to become Optimus Prime. Chris Hemsworth goes from doing his Chris Hemsworth voice to doing an Optimus Prime impression. Like it's very jarring. But I was like, okay, I can tell you're just doing an Optimus impression. And I guess he's studied with Peter Cullen, who does the voice of Optimus Prime. And so that was a little distracting, but besides that, I have no complaints about this movie.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What role did Steve Buscemi play, and was it just his eyes? No words.
It was not just his eyes.
That's a shame. I want his eyes on a Transformer.
He plays a Transformer that you probably know by name.
Starscream.
Yes, actually.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
He can do that high pitched of a voice.
No, but they explain the high pitched voice.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that gets its own origin. I might have to make you guys watch this.
Look, I would love this. This was on my radar anyway, and I'm sad I didn't see it.
No, I absolutely recommend that you guys watch this. I think you'll both enjoy this for different reasons. But yeah, they give Starscream's voice an origin story.
I love it.
So,
good.
But yeah, and then Devin, you watched something else, correct?
Yes, so again, on the small screen of an airplane, I watched Emily the Criminal. Alan, this is something that I had never heard of until you said that you saw an advanced screening of this movie.
Yes.
And I went, it's on the list. And it is. It's always on the list. Mm-hmm. Everything I tell you is on the list is on the list. It just takes me like a year and a half to 2 years to actually watch anything I say is on the list. So up it came. Yeah. This was great. I came into it expecting a comedy. And after the first 30 minutes went, I don't think this is a comedy. Yeah. And it wasn't a comedy, but it was really good. I really like this movie.
Aubrey Plaza in this is fantastic. Yeah, I saw this when it was back at Sundance, because you could occasionally they let you like buy a at-home screening ticket for films at Sundance. So I did that on my birthday. It's like, oh, hey, I like Aubrey Plaza enough that this would be worth checking out. So I did that and watched it, and it's like, oh yeah, this is different, but I like it.
Yeah, she was so good. Ryan, did you know anything about this one?
No, I completely forgot about that. Alan even saw it, so I'm like remembering.
It's an interesting. So, to give a brief synopsis, it's essentially about somebody that's having a hard time getting hired at essentially anything less than kind of a gig economy job. But she's struggling to make ends meet. Very relatably, she has a lot of money in student debt, as do I. But unrelatably, she has an assault charge on her record, or a felony, I think a misdemeanor assault charge on her record, and it's making it very hard for her to find gainful employment. So she essentially gets told by a coworker, hey, call this number, you'll make $200 in an hour. And she does it initially by, I think it's called dummy shopping, where you get a fake credit card, a fake ID, you buy a TV, you essentially steal it. It's a stolen card, it's not real. But you buy the TV with the card, and then you give it to somebody who then turns it around and sells it for profit. She gets $200 doing that, does so well at it, the guy in charge goes, want to do something harder? And hilarity, and not actual hilarity, genuine life of crime ensues. And it's a really good character piece about who she is, how she feels about money and relationships. And like, the title is so kind of heartbreaking once you get into the movie. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not for the lighthearted. Like, it's very,
no.
If you're going in here expecting April from Parks and Recreation, or even spoiler from Agatha All Along, you're going to be disappointed. But Aubrey Plaza is great in this. I think a lot of actresses who are known for comedies have been turning to drama now and like doing a great job at it. I know Selena Gomez has a thing that's just about to come out on Netflix. That's more drama than comedy. So,
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also recommend this if you get the chance to see it.
Yeah.
Finally, I did something I don't usually do, guys. I watched another documentary. This is the year. This is a year of documentaries. If I had a nickel for each documentary that played the John Williams Superman theme that I watched this year, I'd have 2 nickels.
So many nickels.
I know. I watched the Music by John Williams documentary on Disney Plus, which is a in-depth look at John Williams' career and his work, and just his life in general, like telling you the story of John Williams and all the different filmmakers he worked with and his inspirations and his like all this different stuff about John Williams. Which is why I'm wearing this shirt that's got like E.T.
Oh, that's really
Close
cool.
Encounters, Jurassic Park. We're gonna ignore the DeLorean, but because it's a Universal shirt. So, but it talks about his like George Lucas is in here, Steven Spielberg, obviously. They just kind of go like beat by beat with his career. They talk about his early life. They talk about his wife who passed away in the 70s. His daughter's interviewed talking about growing up with John Williams as a father. It's very interesting stuff. And you get to hear, like you get to see the artist at work a little bit, which was really interesting to me. Cause I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a big movie score guy. So this was very fascinating for me to watch and listen to, because like some of my favorite scores are played in this just as things come up. And like we talked a lot about Hook a few weeks ago, and I watched this whole thing. I was like, they didn't talk about Hook at all and the musical aspect of that. And then the credits start rolling and it's Flight from Neverland, and I was like, oh, okay, okay, yeah, there we go.
They did it.
Yeah, they did the thing. But no, I think this is a really interesting documentary on Disney Plus. If you guys can check it out, leans a little bit too much into the Star Wars of it all, but it's also produced by Lucasfilm, so of course it's going to. So
I'll do it. What was your favorite thing you learned from the documentary? If you don't have anything up right now, I can pitch things.
The favorite thing that I learned, and this is now on my radar, is I think in the back of my mind I always knew this. I didn't know that he was a published artist with this. But he released like several jazz albums before he became a big movie composer. So, cool. Antique Store Allen is going to keep an eye out at the record section for John Williams vinyls from the early 70s, late 60s.
I'm surprised those even exist, and I'm sad that did he have a different artist name, or was he going under John Williams?
John Williams.
I was hoping it was like Jazz Williams or like Jazz Cat Williams.
But that also explains like the Cantina Band. Like they talked about that a bit. Like his jazz influence played into making the Cantina Band music. So
that's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I like that.
The more you know. Yeah. Shall we follow the yellow brick road into Oz, gentlemen?
I see what you did.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready.
If I was thinking ahead, I would have pretended that there's a tornado and then made us all black and white, and then brought it into color. But
throw a sepia tone down.
I mean, Ryan kind of got a sepia tone going on right now, so.
Oh, I can probably do that.
I could easily do that.
There's no setting that I did for it. It's just the way it is.
Your house is just very warm tones, Ryan.
Yeah, I can do it. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And now we're in Oz. In Technicolor.
I approve.
Actually, it's too much color. All right, so today we're talking about the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz, starring Judy Garland, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. This is based off of the book by Frank L. Baum. Yeah, this is a movie that I remember growing up watching on like Turner Classic Movies. To the point where when I started watching it on Max and the TCM logo came on, I was like, here we go. Like, this is how it's meant to be seen. And then he just started talking about the tornado. Like, to pay close attention to the tornado. And then I did. And then I didn't watch the part after it because I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. But yeah, this is a film that I grew up watching occasionally when it was on. Like, this is the one movie on that channel I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll watch that. It's always been, I think it's a big part of pop culture. What are your guys' earliest memories of watching The Wizard of Oz?
Ryan, I have to recall what my earliest memory
I was
is.
going to say, it looks like I just unlocked a repressed memory for Devin there.
You did a little bit. Hold on, I have to collect
Okay.
myself.
Okay. So, I remember watching it around Christmas because that's when maybe it was Turner Classic Movies. I forget the channel, but
Yeah.
they would show it for a 24-hour block during Christmas, and so it was always a Christmas movie for me when I was real young. And then as I got older, it was just one of those things where I would see occasionally in school whenever there was a substitute or like the last day of the semester or it was a Friday or whatever, we wouldn't have any work, the teacher would put on a movie. One of the movies was Wizard of Oz. And I'd say I probably watch it maybe once every like 4 to 5 years, I think, just because. So,
Okay. Now, Devin, while Ryan was talking, I just was watching your eyes. Like, you good?
I have a long and storied past with this movie, and I
Okay.
forgot about it until now. So first off, my dad would just go around and sing things. It's just what he did. I do the same thing. Mostly I sing to my animals. But one of the things that my dad would do is he would just go around and go, "If I were king of the forest," and he would do that pretty frequently. And I knew that before I actually watched this movie. He just did that.
I think I remember your dad doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He did it in public. He did it
Yeah.
everywhere. So that was probably the earliest memory of this. I watched this because he did that. Probably when I was like 5 or 6. Then I remember watching this a couple years later when probably my like very firstest middle school crush was like, "Devin, books are better than movies." And I go, "Bullshit." And she goes, "Yeah, read The Wizard of Oz. Do it." And every day after she had recommended that at school, she would go, "How's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz?" And I'd go, "Didn't read it." And to this day, never read it. Spent a whole year of her asking me if I read it, never did. Probably why the middle school relationship never worked out. But I did hate watch the movie after that. And that's the last time I saw it until today.
You have to message me this girl's name.
You don't know her. It was
don't.
it was a different school district.
Oh, different school district? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. All of that just came back to me as I was listening to Ryan's answer.
All right.
Did not remember any of that.
I don't have as storied of a past with it. So let's just talk about the film in general. This is a big, like, there's a lot of quotable lines from this. Everyone knows from pop culture. When you think Wizard of Oz, what's the first line that comes to mind for you guys?
It's the Lollipop Guild. It's the angry munchkins, like anger kicking. They always come up first.
I'm melting. I'm melting.
The Lollipop Guild.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. Is I'm melting yours, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm melting. I'm melting.
What's yours, Alan?
Oh, well, I was making the caption for our post of us as the characters from the movie. I like several came up like, "We're not in Kansas anymore." Follow the Yellow Brick Road. We're off to see the wizard. I think for me it's like we're not in Kansas anymore. So
I mean, it's like the thing that everyone quotes. Like that's had legs way beyond the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm watching Smallville, and they quote that at least twice a season because it takes place in Kansas. So whenever
Mhm.
something happens, it's like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. It's like, yeah, you are. Like you're still in Kansas. Like, come on, Chloe. Uh,
Since watching this movie, I have also had well, what do you recommend, oh wicked witch of the West? From the producers,
yeah.
just on loop in my
Yeah.
head. I love it.
If your goal was to shoot a target through my heart, bullseye.
Bullseye.
Uh,
Roger Bart.
in the chat, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
also that one. I mean, a lot of the movie has legs beyond like what this movie was.
Yeah. Um, so we talked about lines. What's your favorite? What song is your guys' go to for this one? Like, what's your favorite musical moment?
So obviously, it's the if I only had a if I, what is it, King of the Forest, just because of
Yeah.
the like the
Your dad.
connection to it. But now, as a working adult who is, despite 2 weeks of holiday, still incredibly burnt out, it's the beginning of the Welcome to Oz song, where they say that they wake up at 12, they have an hour lunch, and then get off work at 2. And I'm like, yes, that is the work-life balance Devin needs.
Yes.
And that's now the song I remember.
Okay. Ryan, how about you?
The first thing that popped up into my head wasn't a song. It's more or less of like a rhythmic line that's in the movie.
Okay.
And it's when the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion are looking over the rocks, and you've got the castle guards going oh wee yo hum,
Yeah.
and they're just doing that over and over again. That's like as as much as I can bend this question when it comes to like a musical number, like that is the one moment when music wise, because it's always stuck in my head because I don't know if it's always been ridiculous to me, if it's always been odd to me, if it's always been like where did they come up with that hum? Like it just stuck with me. I mean, almost all of the music in this, like you know, it sticks with you
Yeah.
once you've seen it as much as like we have since
Yeah.
because of because of the time and era that we grew up in. Like you've seen this a lot. So
Yeah. I was watching this with subtitles, and when it got to that scene that you were talking about, Ryan, I was like, "Oh, I really want to know what they actually say." There were no subtitles for it. Like,
yeah, no.
They're like, we're not doing this. No.
yeah, it was like, "Oh, they're just marching." Okay, guess they're not chanting
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
Wait.
I forget what it was, but there was some parody where they go through that, and at the very end, they're like, "Yo, wee, yo, oh, shabum." Not what they say, but I remember that, and I don't know
Is
what
it
parody
Spaceballs?
or what scene. No, no, I don't think so. I mean, it might be. Like I said,
It,
I don't remember. All I know is that I know somewhere in some parody or some scene of some movie where they make fun of that specific thing, they say that. That's
sounds
all.
Mel Brooks
That's
to me. I think I remember
yeah.
this. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. That's awesome.
Yeah. For me, like I always appreciate the evolution of if I only had a heart, brain, the nerve. Like I like that the all like that song just evolves for each character. And it can be used in many different types of advertising. Like you can use the
Yeah.
Scarecrow version for one thing. You can use the Tin Man version for another. No one ever uses the Lions version of it.
No.
But I always like that song. I'm gonna say something controversial here. I don't think this is the best version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
What's the best version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
The Hawaiian one. The
Yes,
yeah.
I was. Yeah, that's so good. I forgot about a lot of this movie, and I forgot, if we're talking about Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the part where Toto like reaches like demurely a paw out to Dorothy while they're sitting by the tractor, and I think he's the best actor in this movie. I know that Judy Garland does a great job, but Toto kills it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched this in high definition in my entire life until
Bring
now.
this up. Yep.
And there's always the urban myth about the Munchkin who hung themselves on the set of this movie. Devin, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
So in the forest scene when they're panning across it, so a lot of this movie is painted backdrops, right? And then like a relatively small set. And they used to do this in a lot of old movies. I've actually seen the painted backdrop that they use in the Munchkin scene in real life, in Paramount Studios, which is very cool. But like in too many definitions or too much definition, you can very much see those painted backgrounds. In the forest scene, in the painted background, very quickly you can see what could be a tree branch, but kind of looks like a body hanging from a rope, shadow there. Now, there was an urban legend that a Munchkin had hung himself or hanged himself during the filming of this. Not during that scene, but what you were seeing in the film is a ghost of that Munchkin having hanged themselves. I don't see it. I don't. I love this kind of stuff, like urban legends around movies. I love it. I've watched that scene a couple of times and even like specifically like stopped the world when this scene came on today and was like, I need to pay attention. Could not find it. Do not see it. I think it's a tree branch.
It's not a tree branch. I should know what it is.
What is it?
There's a crane on the set, like the bird, a crane.
Oh.
And it's walking around between the trees because I went back and watched it, rewound this in 4K to make sure that I saw it right.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a bird. Was that bird put there digitally when they remastered it in 4K? I'm not gonna say. But probably not. It was probably there the whole time.
So hold on, I have to ask, did you also on Amazon buy the Ultra HD edition of this because it was 50 cents more than renting it for Ultra HD?
I didn't have to rent it. I watched it on Max.
No, we didn't have to run it.
That must be nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice for you. I mean, it was £5, right? It was £4.50.
So since you had to spend money on this and we just live in America, was it worth the money to rent it this time?
Yeah, totally. I mean, Romana still hasn't seen this movie. At some point, I'm going to make her watch this movie because this is like, it's one of those movies. You got to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, so you bought it?
Yeah. It's on, like, I bought it. Like,
Okay.
It was, I think, £4 to rent and £4.50 to buy. And I'm like,
Okay.
I'm just going to spend
That sounds about right.
I'm not rolling in money over here, but I can afford 50 extra pence.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to talk about with this one? Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
The HD thing. I don't know why. Like I said, I think I watched this maybe like 4 years ago. But this time watching it, I don't know if because they remastered it again, if they went through and did more touch-ups on the film or what, but those Munchkin bald caps never stood out and stronger than they did this time watching it. Like they looked like literal hats. Like it was really bad. Really, really bad.
I think we as a society may have gotten to the point now with these older movies where we need to pump the brakes on the upscaling of these things. I think we're good.
Oh, I cannot wait to see this.
Because I mean,
they're going to release this as a hologram at the Sphere next.
No, because you're going to find out that like those ruby slippers weren't painted ruby on the back of them or something. Like we're going to learn stuff about these movies we don't ever want to know. It was like remember when we did the switch to HD and like all of a sudden everyone was like, oh, these newscasters are really ugly. That low definition was really doing them favors.
Well, the part of it is that when you touch up these older movies, the makeup, the effects are all done based off the definition and the clarity of their screens, their projectors at the time. And when you go through and you update this stuff, there are times when it's like that makeup's uneven. I don't remember the makeup not being even, and that's something that should not stand out. But
I
it,
had
it
that.
does.
I had that with the Scarecrow this time, and with the Tin Man this time. Before Tin Man got cleaned up and he was rusty, I was like, "That makeup looks bad."
Well, he was rusty. It was going to look bad.
Now, before we get off this topic, Ryan, I had something that I know you're going to empathize with me, but every time we
Okay.
upscale things and we get a new resolution, I go back because I have to do 10-year-old me a favor. There was a scene in Futurama where Amy gets a new tattoo. And
Yes.
she says, I bet, Fry, in your time, TVs weren't even high definition enough to show my new naughty tattoo. And she shows her
My
arm to the
new
screen.
obscene tattoo.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Yeah, yeah. And then they all go,
Yeah.
"Oh, nasty." I watch it in every definition that it's available on. I know it's just blurred. I know I'm never gonna see it. But one of these days, man, we're gonna hit like 20K, and the creators are gonna go, "You know what? We're resolving it now."
They're going to have to wait for, like, was it FCC guidelines to be able to show uh, animated topless female characters on, like, daytime TV. Like, when that gets approved, I guarantee the creators will go back and unblur it at that point. That's the
I
only
want
way
it.
that's going to happen.
I want it to just be naked Kip. That's all I want.
But she got the tattoo before she knew Kip.
I want to think she's just was generally attracted to that species anyway. That's what my thought is. Anyway,
I know too much about that tattoo, so I'm just gonna save it. I'm just gonna let you know that it's not Kip, and I was being very specific because I know what that tattoo is supposed to be. I know that that's
send me info later. We need to talk.
okay. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. One of the things about this movie, though, that as I learn more about it, it's like a give and take thing of like as you grow up, as we grew up, and you learned more about this movie, like actual like the actual facts about how the movie was made. There are times when I'm watching this movie that I actually kind of feel bad for the actors involved, particularly for the witch and for I'm blanking on her name, the actress Dorothy.
Judy Garland.
Yeah, Judy Garland. The studio had her on basically speed to keep her up to do some of the scenes. And there are times when you can see her acting. She is like her eyes are bugged open because she's on speed. Because of the filming schedule, they wanted her, like up and going, and they had her on uppers and downers so that she could go for hours on filming, and then they would give her downers to let her sleep, and then they would wake her up and give her speed again to like continue with the filming. So that's always one of those like moments whenever I'm watching this movie. And then another one where the witch got second-degree burns on her face and third-degree burns on her hand. When in the Munchkin Land, when she's supposed to like disappear in the flames, there was an accident. The trap door she was on did not open in time, and the flames went off, and they didn't turn off.
Oh wow!
Like the flames turned on and they didn't turn off, and then she fell through late, and she was gone for like 6-7 weeks. Like they suspended filming for that period for her to like heal, and she refused to work with fire after that. Like she told the producers, and they had already filmed a ton of stuff with her without makeup, so they had to like get like body doubles in. So like when she lights her broom on fire at the end, and she's like, going to set the setting to set the Scarecrow on fire, that's a body double, like of holding the broom.
Yeah.
It's not her.
That's very cool, though. I didn't know that.
I can't blame her. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to work with fire
Yeah.
either. Sorry, I
Yeah.
got sucked into a rabbit hole looking something up here that.
What did you look up?
We'll get into it then. It has something to do with the. I guess we can get into it now. What is the most memorable piece, like memorable prop from this movie? Like what when you think Wizard of Oz props, what do you think is like the Holy Grail?
Her shoe.
Ruby slippers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
There's a pair up for auction right now. So if we put our money together, guys, we can absolutely not afford these. So these are screen matched ruby slippers. I believe that they are not like matched to each other. There's a pair of ruby slippers at the Smithsonian that are not a matched pair. Like they are both from the film. They're both ruby slippers, but they're not from a set. Like one's from one set of shoes. One's from, like the left one and the right one aren't from the same set.
Yeah.
These are the opposites of the what's in the Smithsonian.
It's so weird.
How much do you think these slippers are going for right now at auction?
Are they selling as a pair or as a single one? Like
As
just
a pair. As a pair.
10,000.
Ryan,
You're talking into the millions.
You're
You're talking a million or more.
So this is a matched set, right? It's not the other shoe, or are they the other shoes? They're the real ones.
They're the
like
real
at one
shoes.
point, Judy Garland's feet were in these.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I thought it was like some guy that was just like, I'm making them film accurate. And
No. These
No.
are these are from the film.
2 million, $1 million each.
Nope. Right now they're going for $1,156,250.
That's still way too much money for 2 shoes.
Yes.
Who's gonna buy these?
Where I got distracted is at the same auction, they're auctioning off a bunch of Power Ranger stuff. Like costumes and stuff. Like I could buy the White Ranger's costume from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie for $20,000.
That's great. You need to do that.
I do need to do that. I want that costume.
I want you to want that costume.
Yes. I also get a Lord Zed hero costume.
Is that for free though? Like if you buy
No.
the White Ranger, you get a Lord Zed
No.
for free.
Sadly not.
Aw.
But
Well, I gotta know because another memory popped into my little head here. Have you guys ever done the Pink Floyd Wizard of Oz thing, where you turn on Dark Side of the Moon when the movie starts and listen to it and watch it together?
I really wanted to for this. Like I almost
Mm-hmm.
watched it again today with that, but I just didn't have the time.
Have you ever done it, Ryan?
I haven't heard of this. I have never heard of this.
So I didn't. I realized I did it in college. So my sentence when I was like, I haven't seen it in 30 years. That's wrong. I went on a huge Pink Floyd kick in college. Listened to Dark Side of the Moon almost religiously. I did the 2001: A Space Odyssey thing, and I also did the this thing. And basically, like, if you play it at the start of the movie, play Dark Side of the Moon at the start of the movie, it like weirdly lines up. And Pink Floyd claims this was like never intentional, but like their song "The Great Gig in the Sky" plays as the Twister appears, and it's like kind of ironic what song's playing and what happens on screen. It's neat. It's not like freaky neat, like it's not like change your life neat, but it's neat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of
Yeah,
those things that
yeah.
I'll eventually do. So
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, it's it's a fun thing to do if you're ever bored and want to watch the movie but don't want to listen to it. I would do it.
I mean, and now you own it in fabulous 4K. So
No, in UHD. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that is. Is that 4K?
yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I own it in 4K.
Yeah.
Was there any part of this movie, and this struck me, that you guys didn't remember, but were like kind of re-surprised to see again? And I will tell you, I don't remember the sepia tone stuff in the beginning being so long. And not that it's like long, it's probably like only 15-ish minutes, but the runtime on this movie is like an hour 40.
Yeah.
So it's like decent chunk of movie. I literally thought Dorothy woke up, Dorothy went and sung her song, and then the Twister came. I forgot, like, you get introduced to every person in Oz.
Yeah. I felt the same way about that part.
Yeah.
It did. Like that's never the part of the movie that you want to tune in for. Like I
Yeah.
would never tune in to like the very beginning of a movie ever. It would always be like, oh, she just got to Oz. So
Yeah. So I've seen this movie a bit more recently. So that part, like, none of that stuff really surprised me because, like, I kind of I like the interaction she has with the traveling like fortune teller guy,
Oh yeah.
simply because it's like he talks her into going back home,
Mhm.
like in the most like ridiculous way possible, and I find it humorous. So like, so I like that part. But for me, it's like a 1 second, 2 second thing. And like I said, I've watched this once every 4 to 5 years.
Mhm.
It's when they visit and talk to the wizard the first time, and he tells them to go on a quest to go get the witch's broom. And for some reason, I guess it's because I'm always looking away, or I'm not paying attention, or I blink or something. I have no idea. But when the lion runs out of the room and he
Mhm.
runs down the hallway, I, for the life of me, do not remember him ever jumping out of the window.
Really?
And like he's running down the hallway and he just jumps through the window, and I looked at Kristen and I'm like, has that always been in the movie? And I'm like, that's a really random thing to do. How high up are they? Like, because you don't really get an idea of like where they are
No.
in, in Oz and everything, and it's like he just jumps out the window. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, how did they get him back in? Like, and
uh
and how far did he fall?
well what you got to remember is a lion's a cat, so he's always going to land on his feet.
Fair. Fair.
Yeah, I
So
know, but if you're like 10 stories up,
hey,
it's still gonna hurt. It's still gonna.
we don't ask questions in the merry old land of Oz.
No.
Like,
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna ask a question, Merry Old Land of Oz. I'm Devin. So one thing bugged me in this movie this time watching, because I'm now cynical adult Devin. All right. So I know that there are versions that are of like Oz or properties around Oz that are like that aren't Oz as a metaphor, right? Their Oz is a real place. James Franco is a real human. Does Oz live alongside the real world? Or does Oz have its own version of Abraham Lincoln? Or was Abraham Lincoln transported to Oz at one point in his life? Because the scarecrow goes, with the thoughts I'll be thinking, I'll be a Mr. Lincoln. And he has to be referencing Abraham Lincoln. So, what happened there? This has been
You're
bugging
not gonna
me
like my
all
answer.
day. I want your answer,
You're not gonna
Ryan.
like my answer.
It's just a movie? Shut up, Devin.
No, if we're gonna go off the premise of the movie itself,
Mm-hmm.
okay? She gets a window gets blown out, and she gets hit with the internal frame, like frameage of the window and panels of glass when the tornado goes by. So
Yeah.
she gets rocked in the back of the head and gets knocked out. It is all a fever, like it's all a fever dream. As far as I'm concerned, that's her coma stage. Like she was legit like out of it.
Okay. Yeah.
And so her brain was just piecing stuff together. And so she knew Lincoln, and I can tell you in elementary school we had to sing, and it didn't matter if it was like the spring or Christmas or fall for Thanksgiving. There was always a mention of Lincoln in one of those songs at some point. So
I mean, it is confirmed that the whole thing is a dream. Like the filmmakers did say, like, and it's well known that this is the interpretation of the Oz story that is a dream sequence. The book's not a dream sequence. The movie makes it one.
So, you know what's weird though? I just did some Googling. Wizard of Oz, the date that it was set is the late 1800s, early 1900s, and Lincoln was president in 1865, or from 61 to 65. Is it possible that he's currently the president in her timeline? Like he's just like he is the president?
no, I'm just going to say that they are what, 5 or 6 presidents removed from Lincoln, and it
Okay.
is still relatively modern like history. So like he's gonna know who Lincoln is.
Because he's recent history.
He is recent history. He is about as recent history as like President Ford and like Reagan was for us.
I'm gonna
Or
say
is
that
Ronald Reagan, the actor.
the actor. I'm gonna say that her president was Rutherford B. Hayes, and I'm gonna live with that and be very happy.
What years was he president?
It was.
It's fascinating podcasting. Right
I have
now.
it. I have it. I know. 1876.
Tune in next week when we do the biopic of Rutherford B. Hayes.
I don't know anything about him,
When
but
do you
I
think
love his name.
this-
That's the only thing I like about him.
Okay. Yeah. Let's wrap
away
this
from-
up.
Previous American presidents.
Yes. Let's talk about let's talk about why we're doing this. The film adaptation of the musical Wicked comes out this weekend. Are you guys going to go see Wicked in theaters?
Yeah, 100%.
Ryan, how
At
about
some
you?
point.
Okay.
Are
Yeah,
you-
Some point.
I probably will. The marketing's gotten to me. Seeing Ariana Grande and Jimmy Fallon do sister was a princess. She came down in a bubble, Doug. Like, you gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Seeing them do that kind of sold me on the whole movie. Plus Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I saw Wicked on stage. I really liked it. I don't know how they're gonna drag it out to be 2 movies. I don't know that I love that part of it, but I think it's fun, and I'm excited to see it.
I can't wait to see the people who are upset that it's 2 movies because they have not done a great job of marketing it as Wicked Part 1.
No, they haven't.
I think it's Warner Brothers has done a terrible job of trying to make this a Barbenheimer type event because they have Gladiator 2 coming out and they're like, it's Glicked weekend. And like, no, it's not.
No,
Stop trying to make that a thing. We talked at the beginning of the show about the website thing. Devin, you don't know this story, do you?
No, not at all.
So there's been a lot of toys and merch for Wicked that's dropped recently. And there was a series of dolls, like Barbie doll type things for Wicked that came out. And on the back where it had the website, it listed the website for the movie as wicked.com. Devin, do me a favor right now on your computer. We're going to do this live. Go to wicked.com and tell me what comes up.
Hold on, let me
Or
open incognito
no, just
mode.
give us yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Wicked.com. Oh no, access beyond this page is 18. Oh, that's not the. Oh no, that's not.
And
the
it was
movie.
on. And it was on all of the toys. All of the toys.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. So
Oh.
it became very popular.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
There's whole series on that page. One called
Yeah.
Talk of the Town, which has multiple episodes. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's really funny. So what is the real website? Is it like Wicked the movie or like Wicked
movie, I'm guessing.
wicked.notporn.com?
Yeah. Yeah, search that once.
That didn't get anything. Nope. Nope.
Okay.
It only took me back to the Wicked we didn't like.
Okay. Yeah. So
That's funny.
Yeah. That's about all I have on Wizard of Oz.
Mhm.
Tune in next week. Actually, are we doing a show next week because we have the special
Oh,
in the holiday?
I think we might do the special. Let's talk after this. It'll
Yeah.
be a surprise for us and them.
Yeah. But next time we are live, it will be Devin's pick, right?
Yes, it will.
Yes,
and
it
I
will.
definitely know what I'm watching.
Yeah, because we'll be into
Definitely.
December for holiday movie season.
Yes. Okay, now I'm excited. Got it.
And
Okay.
there's definitely some holiday movies that I think we're going to have to make ourselves watch. Because I feel like we have a holiday special coming up with
I can't wait.
with like made-for-TV Hallmark Lifetime movies. Because there are several that have come out this year that I'm like, oh, I'm watching that unironically.
Which
So,
one?
Oh, we'll talk. We will
Oh
talk.
no. Okay,
So-
good.
You guys are going to make me do a protest.
Nope. Nope.
I have
One
to
of the
make you guys watch Holiday in Handcuffs. I have to.
no, one of them. There's a movie called Hot Frosty that I feel like.
Oh
we're gonna
yeah,
have to-
there is. I saw that. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, make sure to join us next week for our special. We will be dropping it next week, regardless of if we do a live show or not. Join us for our 300th episode special next week. We filmed it live here in my basement. We'll be dropping that here soon for you. It's a lot of fun, just us hanging out, talking about movies. So join us then. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and listen to You Have to Watch This Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, for You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
That was sweet. That was really sweet.
And you were not there because I hate you. You were not there.